Welcome to the Gym Heroes Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Peacock. Today's show is brought to you by Gymdesk, the easiest gym management software you'll ever use. Take payments, create marketing automations, track attendance, and much more. To try the software out free, go to gymdesk.com. No credit card or painful sales call required. Our hero today is Master Andrew Cameron, who runs an organization called Wing Chun International with several affiliate clubs. We talk about how he manages all those clubs and what role he plays in the company. And we even discuss how his passion for cryptocurrency investment has helped him change the financial lives of both his instructors and student body. So without further ado, Master Andrew Cameron. So, who are you and what do you do?
All right, my name's Andrew Cameron. Obviously, I'm a Wing Chun guy and I've been a martial artist since the age of 6 when I started my first martial arts. So I started in Aikido at a local school like everybody else. Mm-hmm. And then I moved on to boxing from 11 and I did that for 3 years. And then I found judo and I was a judo guy from 11 to 18. And then at 18, with all the Bruce Lee movies and etc. happening, I actually found out about Wing Chun in next town. So obviously that started Wing Chun, gave up my judo, and then I've been Wing Chun all the time. So that was 1986 that I started Wing Chun. So that's how old I am now, getting there. So, and then about 3 years later, that's obviously the late 80s, the recession hit, and I was making more from teaching martial arts as a passion. So I made that switch to full time, and I swore then I'd never work for money. I just worked following my passion. So I got into martial arts that way, and then obviously I started building an organisation. I split up from my instructor after 10 years with him, and then started my own organisation, which was at the time under a different brand name, and NWCA. We had, I think it was we were up to about 78 schools and 2,000 students spread out because they're all satellite schools.
Wow.
So we were one of the biggest Wing Chun schools in the country. And then I slightly fell out of love with it, had a family, moved to Spain, and still kept my hand in my Wing Chun, rebranded back to where we are now, which is the Wing Chun International. So downsized it a little bit and now looking to get back into it. And of course, what happened in the last 2.5 years, we can't go without missing, is that COVID hit. And so the expansion's not got into it. So we were expanding because I come out of retirement because my kids are younger. They've grown up to an age where they don't really need their dad around full time. And I got to say, I love living in Spain. I would go there, come back to England once a month to teach, had schools in Germany. So doing more seminars, and the guys were coming to me for private lessons in Spain. And I was doing summer camps. So obviously, because of COVID, that all stopped. So I just relocated back to England and been ticking it over. And what I've seen from it is that the Wing Chun is not necessarily growing, but the level of what we are doing behind the scenes it's gone up. But so martial arts. So since '74 in martial arts. 86 Wing Chun, and I play around with the jiu-jitsu a little bit, ground fighting, because I did judo to quite a high level, so I've always enjoyed ground fighting. So I am incorporating the ground fighting element from judo and a bit of jiu-jitsu in the Wing Chun, but predominantly we are a Wing Chun organization.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really unique. I know a lot of the Wing Chun guys I've seen have been more like instead of integrating actual jiu-jitsu and actual judo into their Wing Chun, they're like, oh, we do anti-grappling, so something that's kind of its own thing.
Yeah, that's a marketing world, anti-grappling, but most of them have no clue. It's a joke. And I mean, to be honest, my judo instructor was Brian Jacks. So if you Google Brian Jacks, you'll see from the 80s, he holds I think he might still hold the world record for dips. He did 100 dips in a minute. So he was a superstar. He was a legend back in the 80s. And I think he was 11 times British champion, 2 times Olympian, and I think world champion about 5 or something. So, and he was way behind before his time, even before the graces his judo and inspiration to talk to. And so I did my judo with him, and my training partner or he wasn't a training partner. He was my actual instructor that I did 5 hours of ground fighting with, was Chris Bowles, and he came fourth in the Olympics, the worst position to ever come. But he's local to me, and I used to do 5 hours with him. So I have a lot of ground fighting, and this is all just a UFC 1, 2, and 3 when the UFC first came out. So this is when I was doing the ground fighting. So I was covering that there. So, but to be honest, most of the Wing Chun guys that do ground fighting, doing this anti-ground fighting, have no experience on the ground, and to be honest, wouldn't work against a normal jiu-jitsu guy's got 2 or 3 years if they get taken to ground. But the Wing Chun as a stand-up for the street, it's amazing. Same as I would say, a lot of the guys that do jiu-jitsu, most clubs just do sports jiu-jitsu or just do the ground. They don't do the self-defense side. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at a match fight on the ground, then jiu-jitsu is far, far superior. But if you're talking about in the street, then Wing Chun, I think, has a lot more use than most of the jiu-jitsu that's taught out there, because it's taught as a sport, not as a self-defense. But I like both. But I'm a Wing Chun guy that plays at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, we used to do anti-grappling stuff. It says Taekwondo across my hat. I've done jiu-jitsu for years. I'm a blue belt in it now. But I've done Taekwondo the longest. That's what I started in. And that's when I used to teach, that's what I taught. And we had our anti-grappling curriculum. And when I was coming up to the colored belt ranks, and after getting into jiu-jitsu, I look back on on the things that I learned, and it's like, this is never going to work. This is not going to be great. Like, I think some of it probably wasn't even good for if the guy had no training, just because I remember when I used to practice it, like, and do it at a test, and the kids would actually try to get out or try to like hold mount or some other pin position. It didn't work even back then.
No. I mean, Taekwondo is an amazing system if you know the right people. And again, you've got 2 commands. And that's the problem with martial arts. It becomes Mac dojos, and it becomes too much about the money and not about the passion. And I got into martial arts as a youngster because I loved it, and it just materialized that I could make a good living at it. But the problem is, when you get to a higher level, what it does, it attracts the wrong people. It attracts people who are interested in the money side, and then the passion, then it becomes about dojo, and it's not about grading, and it's just all about belts. And and to be honest, I'm just as guilty as some of them in a part that you focus too much money on the money rather than keeping the style in the system. But I've got a couple of friends who are very high up. One's an ex-grandmaster, ex-world champion at Taekwondo. Kim Stones, he's based in Doncaster. And another one I see regularly, Dave Martin, again, another grandmaster at Taekwondo. And so when I speak to them about Taekwondo, and they go back to the roots, and they go, the techniques, they were practical and realistic. But if you're looking at sports Taekwondo, again, that's something I'm not interested in at all. But when you look at the fighting side, from all of these arts, there's always something to learn from. And that's what I've learned. And when you get older, it's not my gang's better than your gang, is, that movement. Okay, let's take the bullshit. How was that used, and how was it practical? Because I'm not a kata guy. I'm not interested in kata. I want to know, I want something practical, realistic, and effective. And so for me, I'm not interested in having the biggest organization anymore. I'm interested in making sure the quality and the standard is the highest. And I do it more for myself. That's why I've moved over a little bit to crypto, because in order to survive in these times at the moment, because the governments are, let's not talk about whether for vax or anti-vax. I'm just anti-lockdowns. I'm anti anything that tells us what we should or shouldn't do. Yeah, right. I'm healthy. Yeah, but again, you say, well, yeah, it's supposed to be safety. Well, you can have an animal caged in a cage. Yeah, it's beautiful. But I like to ski. I've got more dangers of dying skiing. Yeah, we've got more chance of being thrown or breaking an arm or getting concussed in our martial arts than we have of COVID. So I don't have that fear element, and I just want to live my life and do my things without government. So you call me a little bit of an anarchist, but I just don't need these travel restrictions, etc. And so this has all affected our martial art business. But rather than get, I suppose, down on it, and what I see is a lot of martial arts schools are closing down. And it's a shame, because obviously, if you just travel down your high street and our high street, so many shops are closed. So you're seeing the effect. And of course, that's going to transfer to the martial arts. And so we already see that. We've seen numbers down on adults completely. adults are more demotivated. But as soon as they opened it up again, the kids' classes are growing. And that because they want to get rid of the kids because they've had them at home. But I think it's also but you also have now the popularity of jiu-jitsu. That tends to be the main adults are focused on jiu-jitsu. And I can see why, because, I mean, I do judo. I like judo, but standing up and getting thrown is damn scary. But as an older person on the floor, lying down and having a laugh, I much prefer martial arts training than the gym. So, and I think I'm looking at my guys and saying, right, look, January, we got all this stuff. People go to the gym, they start their New Year's resolutions, but the most important thing they want to do is like go somewhere where there's none of this bullshit mask, bullshit, this rules and regulations. They just want to go train and go home, and then that. So we are from very early on like keep the politics out of martial arts, and keep the respect. So we don't use the word social distancing. How can you do we never went down that route of keeping them, just doing katas and stuff. I'm not having someone tell me how to teach. That's it. I'd rather close the doors and go in now. So I fall into that bracket straight away. But I tell my instructors, as always, that it's their business. They've got to run it how they feel fit and free and how they want to do it. But I will never wear mask teaching. That's just me. And no one's going to tell me to put a mask on and touch hands. So I never. And I think that goes with a lot of martial arts. And when I look into it, people go, well, in the old days, if you practice religion and that, you got crucified and stuff. So you've got to look for the good things to move on. And I think as we move on in martial arts, we just need to adapt and evolve. Smaller classes maybe. And in the UK, we can charge more money because obviously we're way behind the price that we charge compared to where you do in the United States. So I mean, I still love my martial arts, and I look forward to teaching the guys, and I look forward to my training. I just suffer with the weight bit, so I need to do a little bit more sweat session this year.
Yeah, for sure. So I know you said that you didn't want to run, you weren't interested in running the biggest organization anymore, but I am curious, and I don't know if I thought you mentioned where you were at a couple of years ago, but how many schools do you have as part of Wing Chun International now, or are they all satellite locations?
They're all, I don't hold a personal school. I just run the organisation, so I just work the curriculum and I revalue the curriculum every single month from there. So we have 12 months, 12 grades. We're a 12 grade system, so I look at taking it deeper. So I just want to teach the instructors. So I teach once a month, 3 days, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and the instructors, they just pay me a nominal fee for that, and they can come to all those lessons from there. So what the lockdown has done is forced me to record those lessons and put them online. And actually, that's probably the good thing that's come out of it, is that we have now 1,500 or 1,600 videos all online. And now I've just got one of my instructors now who's like, obviously trying to put it in a format that's better than just saying, right, it was this week, this month, that month was this training, that month. He's actually categorizing it so people could search what they're looking for. So we have hours and hours. So it's really so now if I want you to franchise out bigger and explode bigger and have loads of schools up there. So the guys that I have in Germany have a big school about, I think in Germany they have it was about 400 or 500 students. And that for them it's perfect because they obviously can't come and see me every single month, but they can come and see me 2-3 times a week. But what they can, 2-3 times a year. But what they can do is view the lessons online. So we're in a situation now where once this all clears up, we will be able to expand and grow quickly. So other Wing Chun schools looking to join us and looking for a step-by-step system that they really can progress will be very, very easy. And a system where it's really fair. So it's not just the top guy that makes money, the school owner can make money. Whereas too many of the organisation is they pay too much and they get nothing back for it, really.
Yeah, that's definitely a big problem. So I think you kind of touched on, my next question was, how are those schools run? So is it is there a mix of like people who are pre-existing Wing Chun schools and they can come in, and then you have ones that were kind of started as part of your organization and they're managed
I've never ever recruited out or expanded. I've never stole other people's students. So all our instructors have always been produced within. We have a different culture. I don't have a big organization culture. I'm more decentralized. That's why you'll find that crypto suits me so much from there. But I did merge with a big organization, the EWTO, which is one of the biggest organizations in Wing Chun organizations. And I was the UK representative. So my organization joined theirs, and we were the biggest school in the UK. But we took on their culture, and their culture wasn't us. So after about 12 years with them, that's when I decided to have my little sabbatical and away. And then I had to fall in love with my martial arts again, because it became too much about the commercial, too much about the money, and it was never all about the martial arts. And it's always been for me about the martial arts first and the business second. So how we run our schools, I keep it very very simple. So I don't say the technique has to be like this. I give you a concept, and you can teach that concept in many different ways. So we have a very structured system that's very easy to learn, and it still allows for the instructor to develop. So the problem is a lot of big organizations is, I'm the top guy, you're here, and of course you're never going to be better than me. But surely your job as an instructor is to make your students better than you and to let them go. But the money side gets into it, because they say, well, you've got to pay my instructor, you've got to do this instructor. So we keep it very, very simple. So again, usually, I've done with the old school billing, where you charge them for billing and you keep control of them. So it's all about control. So if they leave you, they financially, they lose out. So I took all that way. So when I looked at building an organization again, I wanted to take all that control away. So that's one of the reasons why I use yourselves. And now it's Martial Art Rails is the company I joined. But what's the new name now?
Gymdesk.
Yeah. So Gymdesk, and I tried a lot of packages, and of course it just didn't suit me. But yours was really easy, and I liked the way it was, that we kept control, we collected the money, and you just gave us the website that we can do bits and pieces, so that it allowed us to, and especially small schools, to grow, and not big schools. And because obviously a lot of billing companies, they take a lot of money and do nothing for it.
I used to teach in a little Taekwondo club, and I used one of the bigger ones, and it's like, it was confusing and outdated and slow. And then on top of that, if you wanted to do anything extra at all, email marketing, any of that kind of stuff, it was like an extra integration you had to pay for every single thing. So it absolutely, I definitely understand that. Have you used the multi-location? Because I know that we have where you can manage multiple locations. Has that been useful to you?
But basically what we actually got a bespoke service. I don't know if you know, with Martial Art Rail or Gymdesk, we actually have the bespoke service. So we actually have ours on our own server. So when it actually comes out of our branding, so it comes up as Wing Chun Group. So we actually, and I with Aaron, I managed to negotiate a price. And again, he's never been about the price with Aaron. Aaron's always been there, serviced it. So I'm a raving fan of the company, and that's why we use them. And so we and I like that we can open up, I can add extra gyms very, very quickly. Yeah, there's so many things that have happened in the last 2 years. I have no clue what's in that back office, but I know from 2 years ago when I wanted those things, they were going to come. But again, it's forced Aaron to step his game up.
Absolutely.
And I know a few of my guys are using it. So some of my guys know how to use the back office better than myself. And again, it's really easy. I mean, the website, I can have a website up and running in 5 minutes for another school, and I can put the grading system up in 10 minutes. It doesn't take long to learn the system. And now some of the other systems I've learned, the learning process is so painful.
Yes.
And for most people who are martial artists, it doesn't get it. But I've not had any of my team that's not been able to learn how to use this really quickly. I think I have the hardest problem setting up an email address and connecting the email address. And a lot of time, if I ever have any issues, I just give Aaron an email, and normally he replies really quickly. And I like that he's quite happy to take emails off my team rather than just from me. So again, that all comes down to if I don't need to deal with it, it's even better. But to set up clubs and have my satellite clubs, they've really enjoyed it. The hardest thing for me is literally having to go online and wait for them to give me the code to link it to their Stripe account, because we use Stripe, so we don't do any manual payments. Most of us take the Stripe payments. Now, some of them don't like the Stripe payment because obviously there's a delay of 5 days payment. I said, well, that's just part of the system because you're taking credit card payments, etc. And of course, for me, I'd like to have the when Stripe will actually do the euro, because at the moment it's okay because most of my schools are in the UK. But for places like Germany, Slovakia, when they can do the euro, it'd be very, very helpful, because obviously the more you make it automated, the more you can focus on the martial arts.
Absolutely. It's designed. It's the best one I've ever seen personally, and it's designed to be as easy as possible to use, as well as the fact that it's built on more current technology than a lot of the other systems are. They have great websites, but they don't. Yeah, but they don't. Once you get on the back end, it's like, oh my goodness, I think I've been had.
The back office is most of them are actually terrible, or you have to be an IT guy in order to know how to use it. Yeah. So on that note, Gymdesk, I would say, is definitely. I haven't checked recently, but in the last 2 or 3 years when I started looking at, I did look at. And I'm a researcher, so I'm not someone that says, "Oh, I just looked for 5 minutes." I've tested and met the team and spoken to people who used it, and And it's not that I don't know how to run a successful martial arts school. I had the most successful martial arts school for 2 years in the UK. We were taking serious money back in the old days. I think my top grossing month was 108,000.
Wow.
So on average, we're doing 56,000 per month, and that's pounds, not dollars or euros or whatever.
Yeah.
So now I don't even do nowhere near that. No, we're not even. I don't even make a living from it now. So I had time out, but just making the money doesn't make you happy. You got to have the passion for martial arts. And what I see a lot of the time when I walk into schools now, and you can see them at dojo ones, because it's not because they don't like the martial arts. They got some of the schools have got so many young kids teaching the kids. And for me, when you're teaching young kids, apart from the life skill, which I think Taekwondo do really well, the kids love the grappling. That's why Jiu-Jitsu and Judo do really well. And when I look at teachers, I look at Judo teachers, they still enjoy being on the floor with the kids because they're rolling with the kids. Yep. Whereas I watch a lot of the Taekwondo guys, they're burnt out from maybe chasing the money, doing so many classes, but I don't see the same from Judo and Jiu-Jitsu classes for kids. Talking about. Because most of the Taekwondo, they still enjoy teaching the adult classes on the instructors. So for me, I only teach my adults, but I've got most of my guys saying, look, incorporate more of the ground fighting for kids, because it's natural for kids to wrestle, not punt.
Absolutely, yeah. So, with the Taekwondo instructors, I know that because that's my world. That is, you're correct there, that they get too interested in the money, and then they get disinterested in the training, and then they stop teaching so much. So they have all these, a lot of them they're very young people running most of the class, and maybe they'll show up for a piece of, the master will come out with his belly hanging out or whatever to show a piece of curriculum for 5 minutes and, bark at some of the students, and then he'll leave. And then the younger instructor will take over the rest of the class. And I personally just never wanted to be that master. If it gets to the point where I'm only running a martial arts business like remotely, and I'm only the figurehead, so to speak, and I'm not teaching the students anymore, I think it's about time for me to retire, because that's never why I wanted to do it, and certainly not where I want to find myself in old age.
Yeah, we teach. To be honest, I teach for the love of it, not for the money. So when you can make money at something you do, it's great. And I always tell people there's other ways to make money that are far easier if you're looking for the money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but again, that's why people go into multi-gyms, because they have the skill level, the management skill, and so they can do these multi things. But again, they have to have a system in place that also does the quality check. But again, if you've got a first technician or first black belt, a first degree black belt, he only needs to be a first or second degree black belt in order to teach. So you can have them coming through, but in order to progress it, you need to keep moving them up. But the problem is these when you've got a system and you've got 5 people coming up, these first degree, they don't need to have another level. They just need to have another degree in order, because of seniority. So they're not improving their martial arts done on their teaching or their service to the game. So they lose in that part, but there always has to be someone in martial arts who's taking the martial arts to another level. Mm-hmm. And the wake-up call was obviously the Gracies in the late 80s with the jiu-jitsu. But now look at it, when you look at the jiu-jitsu, I mean, in the UFC and that, if you just have jiu-jitsu, you're pretty much snooping. You need to have the stand-up brain. You've got to have be an all-rounder from there. But again, you still got to take that knowledge. There's still the knowledge missing for the street. Yeah, because obviously you've got the pre-fight, you've got the dialogue, and because the time someone actually throws a first punch in a UFC fight, the fight is actually over in the street. Yeah, the posturing and the psychology of fighting is so important, and that's the element I think is missing if you just do sports side, and that's where the boxing is. Because I think what I learned from a lot of watching the Taekwondo guys is all these personal development stuff. So we brought that in over from America, and that was very, very good to bring. And that, so again, you need to keep upgrading your martial arts and everything that you have with the best knowledge. And so the Wing Chun I teach today is completely different to the Wing Chun that I learned back in the 80s. Yeah, and the same as I see from the judo, how I learnt my judo and what they teach today is different. And so when I see what the jiu-jitsu they're teaching, and that, so we do need this young blood coming through, and obviously people take it to another level. And of course, I think martial arts is going through a hard time throughout the world because social distancing, lockdowns and stuff, and people just have nothing. Yeah, but again, they'll never ever stop people who are really martial artists doing it. So for me, we have to make the new big is the new small, which means teaching more private lessons, smaller lessons. For my guys, it's like my guys know that, okay, no matter what the government says, call me if you want to learn or teach.
There's a lot of that going on over here too.
So basically, but before everybody took the first one seriously. So I will always train because why? Because my wellness is so much more important than being mentally strong, and I get that through training martial arts. So, so for me during lockdown, we were shooting videos and having a laugh. And to be honest, I was sleeping on the gym floor. I got to say I loved it. It reminds me of the back of the old days. Yeah, when I was a youngster, and your dream is to build a big martial arts school. Of course, we didn't have any students, the instructors would turn up, but we were shooting videos for our business, and we were practicing all the BS rules. But of course not. But we just get on with it. You wanted to. Wing Chun is a combat martial arts is contact. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this idea that you can do judo with a mask on and that I just like it just makes me laugh. So and putting that fear into the students. For me, they're not the real martial artists. Real martial artists would have just continued training and done. But again, if you're running a big school and you've got 5 or 6 people to do a living with, then obviously they've got to do what's best for them. And of course, the parents say, well, if you're not going to do this, well, I always say to people, look, the ones who want to train will train. The ones that are telling you, oh, what's the social distance with? They're already pissed off and they're isolating, So let's just be a place where people can come and be normal. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so for me, the new big is the new small. So private lessons, small groups, and offering better service. And just like you've done with martial art desk gym, you had to up your grade, and that's no different from what we've had to do. So we've put the foundation in upgrading our program. And now we're ready to launch it more once we know this that these restrictions go. Because with the continuous opening and closing, January, as you know, is a month where we can actually sign up a lot of students. Mm-hmm. However, with Boris threatening lockdown before, thanks to Boris. I didn't vote for him, would never vote for him. Yeah. And that, being an idiot, he puts the fear of people. So people are already starting to know, so you can't plan your holidays. So for me, I say, sod it. I booked my Easter holiday, I booked my skiing holidays. I've had to cancel so many times and things are traveling. It's becoming more and more. So you just got to work with it. Yeah, you have to adapt and change. That's what your martial art teaches. So for me, when I walk through my door and I teach, I'm just Mr. Positive, and I enjoy being around the guys. And so we that's what's kept most of us sane from that. So I mean, as Wing Chun and growing more and more schools, it's not something we're looking to do right now because we're not getting that new blood coming through. But the standard is coming out. So we had a hard lockdown, I suppose, for 1 year. So where the actual martial arts was going down, but we were doing a lot of the stuff behind the scene. But the guys now started to come back into training. Mm-hmm. So we're now at the quality's going. So I've got a young team, but I think, if we come out of all this and the world wakes up, then obviously we're going to be a good stead to grow it.
Yeah.
And then if other guys want to get into the Wing Chun, then they can have a look at it. But right now, for my career, as I had to adapt and a change, I've moved over to crypto. And I was, and that's because we were told to lock down. And I said, no one's telling me who I can or can't see. Yeah, if you want to tell me who I can or can't see, come and arrest me and feed me 3 days, give me 3 meals a day and a roof over my head. But otherwise, I have no illness. Yeah, and that's so unless I'm ill, I never catch anything. And to be honest, I haven't caught it. And just so everybody knows, I am an unvaxxed. As if so, I have good immune system. Loads of people have had it round me. Yeah, I don't know anybody personally that's died from it. Again, all I care about is the restrictions, and the restrictions are BS. So unless you had, and so I realised 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, that we're coming to a situation is like, because I'm not ruled by money, I'm ruled by lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll give you an example. I separated from the mother of my children in 2011, and I decided, in order to focus on something good, I decided to walk and trek to the North Pole, magnetic North Pole. So I trekked 400 kilometres to the North Pole.
Wow.
So that took 27 days. And cost me a tooth, They charge you 80 euros to remove a tooth and 1,000 to put one back. I normally don't go to the dentist. And then I decided to row across the Atlantic in 2016 to 17. So I like my little venture. That took me 53 days. So that's 3,000 kilometres from La Gomera over near Tenerife to Antigua. And that. So I like these challenges, and the thing is, you have to adapt to the change. So I realised that just with all these testings that you're doing, you're looking at an average person needs another £300 just for tests to go abroad now. Yeah, and then if you're not vaxxed, you're going to have to quarantine for 10 days. So I realised from day one, they're trying to destroy the middle class, and unless you have money, you are going to be really thinking. And I looked at what I was earning in martial arts 10, 15 years ago to what I'm earning now. And most martial artists I know in the game who are coming to my age and older, all of them are not earning what they were earning 10 or 15 years ago. So the inflation is really, really hitting. And we're going to see more and more that's hitting more and more people, the inflation. So, and I wasn't allowed to see people. So a couple of martial artists and myself, old boys, we met up. And then we started talking about crypto, because we got into crypto in 2017, and we did one of these M&L systems back then. And so I put 15 in, and I built up to 65, and got it all lost. But I always believed in crypto, which is Bitcoin. So I decided that we'd meet together, and from doing that, I just called us the Stray Dogs. Yeah, so the group we meet every Wednesday. We still meet every Wednesday, so I'll be meeting guys tomorrow. We just met up, and over the years, more and more people asked me, and just like from there, I just started putting it into a system. And if I think about how we invested, because I just had one thing: if you know nothing, just buy Bitcoin. Yeah, and where's the money better on? Yeah, whose wallet? My wallet, your wallet. So I would hand them, and that's the more you know about crypto, you need to keep control of your money and how you keep control of it. And I started meeting people, and so getting more and more instructors in it. And they're all starting to put money in there, explain them, reading, telling which books to read. So we talked about financial education. And then about a year and a half ago, we went completely just all crypto. And then I started to write, building a course and making a white belt to black belt in crypto. Basically, everything you need to know to get you safe, secure, and profitable in crypto in 15 steps. Cool. So we have these 15 steps now. So white belt's all about Bitcoin. Blue belt is all about altcoins. Purple belt is all about DeFi because there's no romance without finance. Brown belt is all about mining, and at the fifth level is all about black belt is trading and leverage trading and how you can do that. And everything is about how to keep you safe, secure, and profitable. And so it can be taught very, very quickly and I realized that most of my guys have teaching skills that are transferable. And all these YouTubers that are on there, and then you get to realize these YouTubers are these pump and dump on there because I chased all these coins. And if I realized that back in 2017, if I just bought held Bitcoin, I would be far, far better off than doing this swapping and changing and that. So teaching people how to invest in crypto safely and secure and profitable is another niche market that we can move into. And so most of my guys, I started realizing they started having some money behind it because they were investing in crypto. And so I thought, well, you know what? Why don't we make our money in crypto and then just keep the martial arts for the soul? Yeah, so we still teach it, and when we can do it. So. And it's only literally last month we started building the brand and building it out from there, and we started to sign clients up on it. So I'm building this course now to offer to other martial artists, whoever has a gym, that they can now have a plugged-in system that over a weekend they can learn the whole thing, and then they can actually offer it to their clients. Because I don't want to do this online training stuff. I want to do eyeball to eyeball, so build a community. So when we teach, because I think the only way you can really learn crypto is to have someone there with a computer there right next to you, typing it in with you. So we have a trainer buddy system. So now we got a school coming up in Cyprus. We got one in Dunstable. Dunstable's already signed 5 people up in December. Now, so what we're doing is, I haven't printed the manual, but basically, let's see if it transfers. So you can see it. We put the course together, so it's literally. It's not going to be a heavy manual because a lot of it is just 10 tasks that you need to do. You tick off with your buddy. So once we tick it off, you get your belt and you're ready to go on. Doesn't mean you're going to learn everything you need to know in a weekend from doing the course, but you'll get the basics that you need, and you'll get to know how to research, and you get to know what's a scam and what isn't a scam. And of course, we have regular meetups, and it's again, and of course, if people make money, then they have money to invest in their martial arts, because if they like the crypto, they come in there. So it's a secondary income, or it's a system that most school owners can plug into their curriculum already if they're into Bitcoin, and it allows them the development, because it doesn't have to be my way. So it's all decentralized. So we that's all set up. So, and of course we're using guess which system we're using to build it on, martial art route. So we're using Gymdesk to actually set up the schools. Why? Because it doesn't cost me anything to have those schools set up. They're with the Stripe. And of course you need some bit IT just to change the domain name, because obviously otherwise it'll say Wing Chun. But again, that's just minor things. So we give them a website, everything. And that's because we're using your systems, because it doesn't have to just be martial arts. It does actually for everything else. And the back office, it's really, really good. If you've not used it, you should try it.
Yeah, you should absolutely try it. That's amazing. So it actually sounds to me like, and that's a great inventive use, way to use the membership software for more than just martial arts. But it sounds like the crypto has become a way, almost like a program for your people that already work for your inside of your organization, to help them be able to gain some financial freedom and then kind of just teach Wing Chun mostly out of their passion for the martial art, rather than worrying about making most of their income from that. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's the way I'm going with it, because it will bring a different type of clientele, obviously, to the game.
Yeah.
And of course, for me, I just wanted to work with the instructors and people who have passion for the martial arts side, as opposed to teach the business side of martial arts. I still like it, but I don't want to have to do the phone calls and, the missing in action calls. I've done all that. I've been there. It's not the crypto means that I can go around and network people from a different caliber, because I do like what the crypto represents. I don't like the financial world, the property development world and stuff. They're a bit boring in a way that from crypto is such a young crowd. And what it represents, I'm really interested in. So from that point of view, it's really different. But to give you a perspective, is that the money you can make in crypto is completely different to what you can make teaching martial arts. And this program that these school owners can bring in is completely different. For example, most of my guys here, I don't know how it works in the United States, we're not doing all this paid in full stuff where they pay for a program for 2 years, 3-year program they pay today. Yeah. I did that and I got burnt doing that. That's how I managed to hit the big targets, because then you have that liability to serve. So I'm not into this. I much prefer what we call account receivable, the monthly fees. But we do a down payment now. So I think nowadays we have to have a combination of down payment and paid in fulls, because we're coming to the age where people don't want to have a commitment of a year or 2 years. So therefore, if a new student walks in the door, he goes, I want to become a martial artist. I think we have to take a large payment off them because that's when they're most enthusiastic. So I never thought I'd go back to that way where we should be looking at larger down payments and then the monthly. And I always like the monthly, because I always like to know I have enough coming in to pay the bills and pay the staff.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we should always, but when you go completely paid in full, there's something wrong. If you just go monthly, I don't think you can survive unless you're doing down payments. So I've not really talked much in the martial art game to see what other people are doing, but you should be doing a combination of a little bit of paid in full. So if someone comes in as a basic program, if it's £300 or £400, you take £300 or £400 and then charge them £50 a month after they've done a certain amount of weeks. This is more. But again, if you've got people that are coming in and out, if you take a year payment off them and then we shut down for 2 months and you just add it onto their 2 months there, but the monthly, they don't cancel a month. So for example, I use a different system with my school owners and my instructors. I charge just a flat fee, and which is for my old guys, it's £50 a month, but they can come to all my seminars and it's all inclusive. So if they don't see me for a year, they get all the back office. But if they wanted to buy all that, and if they want to just come for one weekend, then the weekend is about £300. So it's really cost effective because it's not about the money now, because I have a relationship with them. So I'm after that long-term residual and the relationship. And I see so many relationships in martial arts that are ruined because of the money side. So there's not a right or wrong way, but you need to know which type of school you are, and right now have a combination. So now what we're doing is we have it's a £5,000 program for crypto. So if you're signing someone up for $5,000 and you're signing a student for £50, there's a massive difference.
Yeah.
So if a school gets, for example, if a school signs 5 people up, they get most of the money. We have a way of split. I just get 20%, so they would get the 4,000. So, for example, if school signs 5 people up, that's 20,000 that comes into their school. Of course, they have to service that liability because they got to actually put that program together. Yes, they can be taught online, but nothing beats a buddy system and the community that you meet with other crypto guys in a room, and you have a desk because they have location and they work with you. And through that, you'll build it's not about bigging to build it up massively and teach it all online and take the big money. There's too many people that do that a lot better themselves. But what we do is the buddy system. And so most of my guys, if they sign 1 or 2 people up a month, it's life-changing money. So it's an opportunity for people that want to get into crypto or into martial arts and don't have an income, and they still want to do it. This can change their life overnight by using their teaching skills to teach it. So that's why we got a white belt to black belt. And of course, if anybody is interested in that wants to add this program, I don't care if they're Taekwondo based. All I care is that if they have integrity, and they have integrity, I'm happy to teach them the course. And that so. The train buddy system really works, and that's where I'm going to be focused. Plus, I'm focusing on my own training more this year. So not necessarily growing the organisation, but looking to grow the crypto, because I see that we got this BS in this world happening for another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
If you listen to Rich Dad Poor Dad, yeah, he says now that you should have what's he say? Gold and silver. There's 4 things you have: gold, silver, Bitcoin, and bullets.
Yes. I read that book. But, I think the Bitcoin's newer addition to that list, but yeah.
That was, yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. I actually wanted to, that's excellent points there on how to help your instructors. And that's an inventive and very creative way to do that. And other ways to find money in your business too, to help support yourself as well as help your students out. I wanted to switch gears and actually, because I'm interested to know what you're looking for when you open new locations, or at least when you did it in the past. Like when you're looking to expand, like what are the things that need to be in line? What are you looking for?
Well, right now, if I'm looking to new locations, I'm looking for areas that other martial artists have given up. Yeah, bad enough and ready to close it, because maybe they've reached that age where their retirement age, where they're saying, oh, sorry, they don't want to give it up. The young guys don't want to take it because they know the responsibility. And then there's not enough money in it for them. They have health issues, and then maybe they want to close their school down. So the opportunity is to call up a lot of schools, martial arts schools, that maybe are only open 1 or 2 days a week. Yeah. But they've got full-time locations, and then see if you can get into a full-time location, because they've lost the desire. That allows opportunity. Also, if more people close down, the ones that do stay will make money. Yeah, because that's why you'll see more kids coming, which means that we need to look at, doesn't mean we have to charge rate. We still have to raise our own stuff, but to look for locations. Yeah, I would say for a lot of my guys, this is a great time to rather work out of, sports halls and church halls and venues, but to find a full-time location, because now the landlords are desperate to have someone in there. They'd rather have someone in there paying something than nothing. So there are opportunities. So, the word crisis comes with 2 things. One's an opportunity. So they have to look for this opportunity. And if they have not been taught with the life skills and the personal development, just taught martial arts, that's why it gives up. That's why they give up. But Wing Chun teaches you, and of course, martial arts in general teaches you to perseverance. I mean, you probably got taught that as a Taekwondo guy.
Absolutely.
Perseverance. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Word of the week. We used to have all those things, word of the week, but why don't you practice what you preach? So, for me, it's a great opportunity to expand. If I was 20, 30 years younger, I'd be looking to open up 20, 30 clubs. Yeah. Look to have 6 months no payment. So you negotiate. Yeah. Maybe you've got one of your students who's got a venue. You don't need a big venue to be successful. Yeah, you don't have to have. Yeah, the UFC has a lot of money. Yeah, so you've got to use UFC venues coming. But again, people want to be treated as people. Yeah, they don't want to be a number. Yeah, all this automated where you can't even talk to the person. We've gone through that. Yeah, there's enough for the big companies, but this micro schools and having smaller schools and being the smaller one, you don't need the big schools like you had to in the past, because you need to pay the bills. I think we're going to go smaller and have a relationship with your students, so know all your students. So schools that have got 100 students, 120 students, 300 students are far, far better than schools that have got 600, 700, 800 or 1,000 students.
Yep.
I think those ones are going to be harder. I think 100 students, a school with 100 students, can give their instructor a great lifestyle. I always work on 75 students. Yeah, can give you a living. Yeah, and then you back it up with private lessons. So private lessons is worth like 4 students. So that's how I'd work it out. So if you're doing over 120, 150, you have a good lifestyle. After 120 to 150, you need a second instructor on the payroll. So that's why I've always worked it. So this is why I think in the old days, you were always looking at 220 students per location for one master instructor and an assistant. And that. But I think you have to have that relationship where you know your students. And, you really know their names, you know what they do, and you've got to care about them. But as soon as you make them just a number, that's where I think the issue will come, and then you've got that massive turnaround.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, for example, I was surprised that in this lockdown, I mean, I don't have that many instructors underneath me. I think I've got about 33 or 34 instructors. So I just teach the instructors. But I lost 2 instructors in the 2 years. And so I get them when they become a black belt. So normally the instructors train them, and then I teach the instructor. So I teach the university level, and I enjoy that. That's why I do it once a month. And from there, so right now, what I would do is I would look for locations that they're not operating 7 days a week, and see if the instructor wants out, or he'll give you 2 or 3 of those days. Because and every building is empty. Just get on the phone and see if you can get in there. Because on the high street's dead anyway, so to be somewhere where you can have parking. So I wouldn't look for schools on the high street anymore. I always look for somewhere where they can park for free, because as soon as you go into multi-story places where they get paid £2 or £3 for parking, you put another object in there where people who are tight for money are not going to be bringing their kids along.
Absolutely. So with your instructors, you mentioned before that you do like a 3-day, once a month you do like a 3-day workshop. Are there any other ways that you keep them sharp and keep them continuing to learn? Like, do you have a set instructor curriculum that they have to walk through? Like, what does it look like to become an instructor and then to continue to be an instructor with your organization?
Yeah, well, basically, we have a 12 steps to get to your black belt, roughly, and then we have we call it technician, so not black belts, our technicians to master level. There's 5 degrees to master level, and obviously you've got time served in there, and obviously you have to come to seminars. So rather than just have programs written online or just a tick syllabus, I want to see it because I want to have that relationship. So just as if you went to university, you can do it online. So again, we built that online now. So we have 1,500 videos or whatever it is online, or 1,500 hours online. So we have so many videos you can watch online. Plus, you need to come and to these weekend seminars, and of course do enough of these seminars to actually pass your curriculum. So we have certain things. You have 5 areas we cover in each curriculum, but the testing is more module based. So it's about time coming to the seminar and actually practicing their martial arts. So not just just learn it online, but they need to come and see me so we can see what the character development, etc. So we're still a young organisation. Of course, when I give out the Sifu title, which is saying I recognise them as a teacher, that one they don't pay for. That's still done to me believing that you are. So there's no qualification for that. So I still think I want to keep that element in there. But for testing, so for the purpose of anybody who wants to follow our curriculum and go and who already is a martial artist, then they would pay a monthly fee. They would have access to all the past lessons in the background, so all those hours, and then they can also attend the weekend workshop. And of course, once I produce a master, they will also be able to do their master classes in their area. So the idea, if I was going to build it out nice, big, there's one in the UK, there'd be one in Spain, there'd be one in each one of the countries. If we got bigger, there'd be one somewhere in the world happening every weekend, and that would be included. And just have to book in. Because obviously everybody's paying a monthly fee, and then I would have someone employed to take those master classes. That who's purely and we have this idea. I teach you teach 2 other people. So this idea of being selfish, and I never want to see a white belt, 2 white belts together. I always want to see the black belts running over to take a white belt, because you can learn so much by putting back. So I think it was I don't know if you know the Taekwondo guy, Master Bill Clark.
Yeah, I started in the ATA. Yeah, eventually, originally.
Yeah, I went over to see him way back when they had the math system and that. So that's when you did all the page and food system. I was invited to go over. Where was it? Where's he based? He's based on the East Coast.
Oh, he's in. I'm fairly certain he's in North Florida. Yeah, Jacksonville and
Jacksonville.
maybe Tallahassee. Yeah.
So I went to his house and I met the guy, and he would never really remember me, but I remember going to watch his master class. No, he's grading for his black belts, and they took 1.2 million in a day. I was like, wow. So
yeah.
I mean, this when I heard some of his stories, it's like, wow. So, but again, when you actually meet him personally, his integrity is very high. I mean, I hear a lot of bad things, it's money orientated, but you're talking the other end. But go and meet the actual guy. And one thing I still use from him is like rewarding for the student, rewarding for the instructor, and profitable. So when I spend time with this thing, I want to make sure the student enjoys his time with me and he's learned something from it. But also rewarding for the instructor, I want to enjoy teaching that lesson. And then profitable is, how do we make money? How do we take money? Do we sign them up for this? Do we ask them for this program and do that? And I use the same philosophy in life. Even when I speak to you, I want you to enjoy speaking to me. I also want to enjoy doing this podcast, but I also want to take something away from it. It doesn't necessarily have to be financial, but it can be, what did I learn? So when I go down to the pub with my friends, I can have a great conversation with them and we have a laugh. But how did I develop and grow myself? So I took what Master Bill's, but I don't just take it for, when I say profitable in all aspects of your life, not just financial. But that was one of the biggest lessons I took from there. And I enjoy inspiring the youngsters and coming through, because maybe they didn't have the education to go for it, or they believe that if you teach martial art yourself, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's just why when it was in 2000. 20 odd years ago, I bought a church. So it's a big church to build this illusion for the guys to come out and show that you can have this big organization, etc. So I don't want to do that again by going to, having to go extreme in order to get the other guys motivated.
Right.
I realize I like running an organization. I don't actually run the day-to-day running of a school.
Yeah.
So right now, my inspiration is I have plans for June 2023. Is I want to be on a catamaran sailing around the world, but I can still come back and jump on a plane to come back and teach my instructors.
Excellent.
So I want to spend 2 to 3 years traveling around the world. That's what I want to do. On a catamaran, but a nice boat. So that means I need to have some money, which means that goes back to the crypto, and of course, Wing Chun is another form of income. But I want to do it in a nice way. So there is money to be made in martial arts, but you have to be able to change it. I don't think you can use the system we were doing 3 or 4 years ago. And I think venues are there to be negotiated. So some of my colleagues that I know in the industry were paying premium rates, and they've managed to get them down. But now the landlords are calling them up to get them back to the original money. Well, you can't do that, because if you're still down by 30-40%, you can't, and you're paying your rent, you cannot go back to that type of money. So again, they have to have that conversation and be able to say, well, no, sod it, close the school, move somewhere else. And so I don't know how it works in the States, but that's how we are in the UK, I would say. And of course, all these lockdowns, yes, Zoom, you can do Zoom lessons, but I don't like doing Zoom lessons.
No, most people don't. Zoom is not that fun. It's not fun. It's fun to teach in person. It's not fun to teach on Zoom.
No, so I've not done it. So I actually taught one when I was in Spain, and he wanted me to do a Zoom class, and I enjoyed it, but that was one I could not do that every day. And so I have no interest in doing it. So that's the same with crypto. I'm not or doing YouTube. I've got a few YouTube videos out there, but I'm not interested. It's not who I am and how I come across. The guys that do it and do it well, they're very good at it, but it's not me.
Absolutely. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time. We've been on, I think, about an hour now. We've been recording. So before we go, can you let everyone know where they can find you, and you can plug your programs, like any of that stuff? Have at it.
Okay. If you're interested in doing Wing Chun, then of course look at wingchuninternational.com. I'm Andrew Cameron, Master Cameron. I'm known to the trade. I'm on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You should find me. I'm trying to move away from Facebook. So I'm not a fan of centralized. But if you're interested in knowing more about crypto or bring it into your thing, then look at straydogsinvestment.com. Just drop an email there, and you can find me that way. And if you're not using Marshall on Rail, or was it called Gymdesk? Then honestly, if you're using a paid system now, then you have no idea. The only thing I would like to see is that we can do better websites, but you can do your own website if you're IT, but don't put that off there. 100% the best system I've seen out there. That's why I use it all the time. People want to go, I'll do this, do that. Once you've tried it, and you see how easy it is, especially to put in your team and train your team up, then it's really, really easy. It's simple.
Absolutely. We've got a new task system too.
Yeah, I've actually enjoyed doing this podcast, so I'm not really the one person that likes to do podcasts today.
Awesome. Yeah. Podcasts are a lot of fun, man. I hope we can do this again, maybe talk some more crypto, but awesome. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me. Yeah. Take care then. Have a great week and a good new year.
You too.